Jason, would you pray for us, please?
Sure. Dear Lord, we thank you for another day. Each new day is a blessing. And as always, Lord, we ask that you would guide this body as we make decisions, hopefully in the best interests of all those involved. And forgive us where we fail. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. You would stand with me for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to call this Marshall County Fiscal Court Special Called Meeting, September 10th, 2024, to order. And first thing we have on the agenda is our guest, Marshall County Rescue Squad, Melissa Hale.
I'll go first.
Melissa Hale. Y'all can sort that out.
Yeah, he'll go first.
All right, first off, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for letting us come up here and talk to you today. When I first took over as chief of the rescue squad, we didn't receive any funding from the fiscal court, and over the past 2 years, you guys have stepped up and helped us. That's been a tremendous help. You guys really helped. You stepped up and paid for our insurance, which was a big burden for us. You know, for us, we get no tax money. Everything we do is through fundraising, whether it's chili suppers, photo fundraisers, or mail, putting stuff in the mail. Some ask, what does the rescue squad do? Well, this year alone, we've already ran 80 calls. The very first of the year, we had a bridge jumper. We spent 28 days looking for him. We ended up finding him in a river, 25 feet under the water, and we made a recovery. We've done 25 training sessions this year for 2,228 hours of training. We try to run this rescue squad as professionally as possible. I'm going to tell you some of the events that we've had this year alone where we've actually saved people's lives. On January 4th of this year, it was a cold winter night. It was almost freezing. We had a 16-year-old male that went out his window, had an issue with his family, went out in the woods, and nobody could find him. So we got deployed out there, and we were able to find him that night. It took about an hour or two to find him. He was already hypothermic. If you know anything medically, he wasn't too far from being a completely different case. So because of the assets we have, we're able to locate him and find him. In May of this year, you know, one thing that's unique about the rescue squad compared to the fire departments, we don't just serve Marshall County, we actually serve other surrounding counties. On May 15th, I got contacted by a state trooper. They had a missing female. She had wrecked her car. She'd ran off the road. It was out in a field right next to some woods. The deputy, when or the state trooper, when he got out there, he found her license, her insurance, and her cell phone. He actually thought she left the scene, so they actually towed the vehicle. 2 hours later, the family's like, where's she at? He's like, I don't know. So they called me and said, hey, can you bring a search crew out here and try to find her? So we did. Now, when we got there, the car had already been moved. You could see where she wrecked, and we had no scent articles. I asked for scent articles, so they had to send another state trooper to go get those. We brought 2 dogs with us, and we brought the drone. We have 2 drones we brought. We immediately launched the drones, and me and Amy actually went out. Here is one of our canine dogs. We deployed. Now, you got to think this dog was being deployed with no scent articles, only doing an air search. What they didn't tell us whenever we went out there is that the state trooper went down this field. Well, we had seen where somebody went through there, so we followed that path. And we went through that path, we went down the hill. People would use that as a dumping ground. There's washer dryers, all kinds of stuff out there. When we got to the bottom of the hill, we actually found a creek, and we actually started finding footprints. And so we knew that we were close. And so we followed those for a little bit, and about that time, they called and said, we have a scent article. So we went back, and on the way back, me and Amy actually, where the car wrecked, we seen another path that went through the woods. Well, we went up there and talked to the state trooper, and he told me the path we went on, he actually had walked. And so we got the scent article, changed out dogs, and went back out. When we went back out, Amy deployed her dog. I went up to the high ground and kind of looking around. I seen an object down there in the creek bed, and about that time, Amy come around the corner, and she looked at me and said, that's her. And so Amy's handling the dog. I go up to check her. This girl's not moving at all. She's completely still. So at this time, I don't know if she's alive or dead. So I go up there to her, and I go down to bend down to check on her to see if she has a pulse or not. As I'm about face level, she raises up and starts talking. So you can imagine how much I jumped, because it made me jump. So the way she was talking, I knew that she probably had a brain injury. So I called for Greg and Jeremy. We had our side-by-side out there with our equipment. They brought that back there. We're a pretty good ways back in the woods. We were able to put on a backboard Stokes basket, load her up on our side-by-side, and bring her out. We linked up with the EMS crews from Mayfield, and then they had already called for a helicopter, and we live flighted her that day. That night, I found out that evening that she had her back broken 4 places and had a brain bleed. Had we not found her, she would have laid out there and died. 100% truth. Next thing I'll tell you, a month ago this week, on Thursday, we have a monthly meeting at the Rescue Squad the second Thursday of the month. So that's what we had that Thursday. On Friday, we had a SAR interviewing class, which was 8 hours all day. And then Saturday, we went out and did sonar training, and we were doing that. We stopped at lunch, went to Moore's and was eating, and we had just got our drink orders, and the state police calls me again and says, hey, I got a missing person. He's down by the water. His phone's pinging down there. Can you guys go look? I was like, I've already got 2 boats out. We'll go. We get over there. Unfortunately, the person had drowned. We were able to get over there and make a recovery extremely quick. We hand them off to the Trick County Coroner, and that was that day. The very next day, I was trying to celebrate my daughter's 21st birthday in Murray, and I start getting all these phone calls. We had 2 people jump off a barge. 1 person didn't surface. So I had to come from Murray back here. By the time I got there, they had already located him on the sonar, and we have a cage that we deploy whenever we find somebody that drowns. They had deployed the cage next to him. All they were doing was waiting on me to get there. When I got there, changed over to my dive gear, dove down 20 feet of water, found him, and pulled him up. And I get asked all the time, who are the people on the rescue squad? And this is a good way to describe them. When I come up to the surface, I'm coming from 20 feet. I've got somebody underneath of me trying to pull him up, and he was a big guy. When I get up there, I look for the boat, and our red boat's there, the Billy Pat. I look up there, and both my assistant chiefs have their arms down there trying to help me. And that's who they are. They're the most selfless people that I know. They have a servant's heart. They're always trying to help people. And they serve this community, and they serve the surrounding communities. All it takes is a phone call, and we go and help. So that's my part, and I'm going to let Melissa talk.
Thank you guys for having us here today. Most of my responsibility is making sure we have money in the bank. So I spend a lot of my time with the fundraising aspect of things, writing grants, doing numerous things, making sure that we've got our 501c3 in order and in check. When I joined the rescue squad a few years back, that was one of the big things. We had lost our 501c3 status just due to the fact that there is a lot of work that entails to maintain it. You have to know where basically every single penny goes and be able to keep track of that and make sure that your spending is the way that it needs to be. And like I said, what we do with most of that is we do rely on the community because we do not have a tax base at the present time. We rely heavily on our fundraisers. We rely heavily on the grants that I try to find and dig up in various places. With that, we are a little bit limited because a lot of those are for fire departments, whereas they're not necessarily for rescue squads. And so I use every asset that I have to try and be able to help us find those. And I've been very successful, and so we actually do have some money in the bank, but it isn't always something that is sustainable because you never know. That's a really big gamble. You never know if you're going to be able to get that grant the next year and the next year and the next year. And just to give you guys a little bit of an idea, this is just up to August financials right now, and we have already had to spend $72,463.69 this year. And some of that was in new equipment purchases. We did have to purchase new radios because our radios were decrepit and we weren't able to communicate with one another. And that's in our situation and the things that we do, that's vital. And so we did have to purchase some new radios. We did also purchase a new Starlink system that would enable us to be able to have an internet service when we are out on calls and be able to communicate. And so, you know, some of that money has went towards some equipment purchases, but just everyday maintenance of the equipment that we have. The newest vehicle that we have is like a 2007, and so if that tells you anything, we're not in a position to where we can really set money back to be able to purchase those types of items that we're going to need in the future. And as Kenny said before, we appreciate and thank the fiscal court so much for picking up the slack on the insurance for us this year. That helped tremendously, and it is going to allow us to be able to put a little bit more money back. But as the 2 previous years, we've tried to keep within an $80,000 budget. And as you see, we're just to August and we've already spent 72. So with the economy the way that it is, and we all know, you know, the Bidenomics is not that great for all of us, but everything is going through the roof. I mean, we would used to be able to purchase just ropes and things that Kenny uses a lot of times on his rescues when we do have to have a situation. Those alone have went up like 46% from where I was like pricing things. And we know that that's just going to continue to rise because most everybody knows when something reaches a point, it rarely ever goes back down. So I guess our plea is just to keep that into consideration because we not only, like Kenny said, service our community. We would like for you all to see how big of an asset you actually do have in us because you have other communities and other counties calling on us at all times. And so that does nothing but make Marshall County look, you know, like a rising star when that happens. And we can facilitate those people in that area. One thing I do want to mention, it's something that we did start about 3 years ago. Judge Spraggs was so kind to be able to help us with an auction that we have. This year we have added another little twist to it. We're actually inviting all of the fire departments out, and we're going to actually do a chili cook-off. And so with that being said, we're going to show that we are actually the best that we have to offer because we anticipate winning that. And we are hoping that our commissioners will actually come be our judges that evening for all of that. So we would appreciate that greatly. But that is going to be on Saturday, November the 2nd. The doors will open at 5 o'clock. We do ask for a $10 donation. It is open to the public. And we do ask our community if there's anybody out there that has anything that wants to donate to us for our auction. You know, we will accept anything and everything. So if we have some businesses out there or even just local citizens, you know, if they want to take it into the kindness of their heart and donate us anything, anybody got any season tickets for UK, we will definitely take those. So you can throw them our way. But we would appreciate it if everybody would be in attendance and come out and see us. So again, that is Saturday, November the 2nd. Doors open at 5 o'clock, and all the chili you can eat, hot dogs, drinks, desserts, whatever you like. So does anybody have any questions about anything?
You talk about us helping other counties. Not McCracken necessarily, but
we do help.
I mean, do they have?
They have a rescue squad, but a lot of times we are all volunteer based, and so you know that. And so what that means is not everybody can always go all the time. And so when they fall short with the amount of people that they can have show up to a call, then they will call upon us. They especially call upon like our dive team, which for many years was a dive team of one, which was Kenny. But that does require hire more than just one person for a lot of times. And so they do call upon us for that. And if it's any kind of land search, like Kenny said before, the amount of hours that we spend training as opposed to some of our other local counties is above and beyond. And so there's some skill sets that we have that not all the other counties do.
It's also equipment-wise too. We've added to our equipment throughout the years. Like we have an airplane locator. Years ago, we responded to an airplane crash. We have one of those now. We have the dogs that Amy provides, that search dogs other people don't have. There's a lot of things that we have. Our tow fish, a lot of people don't have that. We have that. We're very equipment blessed here, and a lot of people just don't have that stuff.
We're usually the leaders of the pack in Marshall County in this area. Right?
And we do try. That is something that I wanted to say too, that, you know, we give every single effort to make you all proud and to, you know, that's what we do when we're out in the community. We try to be a symbol of Marshall County and to lead ourselves that way and to make sure that we are trained properly and not going out there and, you know, embarrassing the people that we represent.
I think we need an introduction of the hairiest member, and I'm not talking about
Yes.
Ruck, I'm talking about,
Oh, she's talking about Tim.
yeah.
This is Uno. She does live find and cadaver work for us for the area.
Uno.
She said that is,
Listens to you a lot better than him.
Kenny thinks she's his.
yes, yes.
She's pretty.
Thank you.
So who's your longest serving member? Is it Billy Pat? Is it Bobby?
It would be Whipple Walker.
Whipple?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And he still serves as the treasurer. And so he handles like the treasurer report and those types of things. I'm more the person that handles like the GL accounts and can tell you where the money goes. He knows how much we're spending. I know how much we were spending also, but that was something that was important to get in place when we were doing the 501c3. They had to have a little bit more detailed information than just, the treasurer's report. So.
Good to know for those who are giving too.
Oh, absolutely. And,
That's important for some
like-
people to be able to
yeah.
write it off your taxes.
Exactly. And that's something that we do, if it's above and beyond a certain amount, we do provide them documentation to where that they can, they have that
They need
available
it, yeah.
to do it. Yep.
We had a lot of good stuff to auction last year, too.
Yes, we had an awesome amount of things at the auction last year. We've moved it to November just due to the fact that there seems to be so much that happens in October. And so our first year was amazing. Last year, we didn't make as much as we did the first year, but it was just because there were so many things going on in the county. And so this year we kind of tried to look at it a little bit harder and decided moving it to that first weekend in November would be more beneficial because people will be looking for things to do, hopefully, and spend some money and maybe buy a Christmas gift or two. So,
Appreciate that,
Well-
because the last 2 weeks in October, I'm tied up.
Yeah.
So I was afraid I was going to miss it.
Yeah.
Miss it this year. I enjoyed it last year.
You want to repeat that date and time one more time?
yes, again, it is November the 2nd. That is a Saturday. It will be held at the Rescue Squad building, which is at 201 Ash Street in Benton. And the doors open at 5 o'clock, and it is a $10 donation. And then, but bring more than $10 because we know you're going to bid on stuff at the auction. And you'll get to see our judge in action, being up there, being our auctioneer. So we hope to see everybody there that night and hope that we can raise a lot of money, and just to say how much we appreciate being part of such a wonderful county, and thank you for allowing us to do what we do.
Thank you all for everything you do and representing the county so professionally. We appreciate it. We'd like to get a photo with you all if you don't mind.
Can you go in? There we go. Ready, 1, 2, 3. And one more time. Got it.
Okay. Coroner's office, next guest.
All right, again, good afternoon. I'm Kenny the Coroner, like usual, I just trade hats. So I'm here with the Coroner's office. When I ran for office, one of my big selling points was I'd be a quiet professional. since taking over his office, you don't ever see us post things on Facebook. We keep everything quiet on what we're doing out of respect for the deceased and their families. And I'm a big advocate of that, and we really try to do that. This year's been an incredibly busy year. To date, we've already had 118 coroner cases here in Marshall County. They have been arrangements of things from natural causes where somebody has a heart attack, respiratory issue, or any kind of medical event. We've had a tremendous amount of suicides. It's insane how many suicides we're having here in the county, and it's something that I really hope we can try to get a handle on. Drug overdoses, we've had a uptick in that. I work with Aaron all the time at the Sheriff's Department with those. And a lot of our coroner cases too, they may not necessarily die because of drugs, but there's car wrecks, there's drownings and things that are all tied into contributing factors that they were on drugs. So it's a huge issue. We've worked car wrecks, house fires, we've done everything this year. About the time you think you've seen it all, something else is going to happen. So with that being said, you know, I tell everybody at the coroner's office, we get one chance to get it right, and 30 years from now, they're going to judge us on it. And since I've been doing this, I've had 5 different instances where either lawyers, family members, or even somebody that was writing a book contact me and say, hey, tell me about a case from 1965. And I've got to go back to the coroner's office and try to see if there's a file on it and come back and talk to them about it. So that's what we deal with. You know, the people that work at the coroner's office, they are selfless people that they go above and beyond. Their phones, they go off all the time, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. There's always somebody on call, regardless of time of day, regardless if it's a holiday, somebody's on call. And typically with that, just because one person's on call, 1 or 2 others is coming to help too. You know, here recently, we just had a case we went out and did. Kevin and myself went out there. You never know what you're going to get into. And shortly after being out there, I started calling Aaron saying, hey, I need some detectives out there because this has the potential to be going a different way. And sure enough, it did. And I'm proud that we did our part of the pie. And that's what I tell them. We're responsible for this, and that's what we do to the best of our ability. You know, we're out there till about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We come back to the coroner's office, and I'm setting up with the medical examiner, send them for an autopsy. Tim Davis has been awake all day. He takes the deceased to Louisville. We have to go to Louisville every time now. Drives all night to get up there so they can do the autopsy the next morning, which is important because time's always of the essence, and we can get that information back to the Sheriff's Department so they can do what they need to do. But if you didn't handle that case correctly, then people can get away with things. So the other reason we're here, on July 29th, I received a phone call from Jeff Armstrong, which he's a coroner of Livingston. He's sitting right here. He called me and said that on I-24 there was a multi-vehicle wreck with there were several fatalities. Didn't know how many, but there was multiple fatalities there. Jeff called me and said, hey, he said, I hate to do this to you. He said, but my mother is literally dying. She was on her deathbed, and she actually did pass away that day. And he's like, I can't leave her and my family right now. He said, can you go do it? And I said, absolutely. So as soon as I hung up the phone with him, was on my way to the coroner's office and started calling all the deputies in. We all meet up at the coroner's office, and then we go out there. I'm not going to go into the details of the scene because it was a horrific scene. My grandmother, 2 grandchildren. Anytime we have children, it's really bad because every one of us have kids or grandkids or things of that nature, and it's not normal to have to put a child in a body bag. One thing people don't know about that is that was one vehicle. There was another vehicle involved so that was a grandmother and 2 grandkids. There was a grandfather in a pickup truck in front of them with a grandson. The grandfather had to be life flighted, and the grandson actually witnessed everything. And he actually called his dad, and that's how his dad found out that his mother, and he lost a child. So it was a terrible way. And then upon investigation on that, talking to that child, his mother had died a week prior to a drug overdose. So in less than a week, he lost his mother and his grandmother, a sibling, and a cousin. So I tell people, anytime you think you're having a bad day, think of that little boy because he had a terrible day. And he has to live with that the rest of his life. That's not something we can change. But with that being said, you know, these folks here behind me, they went above and beyond that day. And I talked to Kevin, and we wanted to try to recognize them. So we put a little award together, and I'll let Kevin read it.
Thank you, Kenny. On July 29th, 2024, Marshall County Coroner Kenny Pratt was contacted by Livingston County Coroner Jeff Armstrong. Coroner Armstrong stated that there were mass fatality, multi-vehicle collision on I-24 around mile marker 32 in Livingston County, and he requested assistance from the Marshall County Coroner's Office. Upon arrival, the Marshall County Coroner's Office located a vehicle that had been fully engulfed with flames with 3 human bodies visible in the car. The Marshall County Coroner's Office immediately started the mass fatality plan in order to properly process the scene and keeping the integrity of the investigation. During the tragic events on July 29th, 2024 and the days to follow, Marshall County Coroner's Office performed with the highest level of professionalism, integrity, and efficiency throughout their investigation. Marshall County Coroner's Office also served as a bridge between the deceased and their families while handling the difficult task with extreme compassion, care, and love for the families. It's with great pleasure that the Marshall County Fiscal Court takes the time to say thank you to the members of the Marshall County Coroner's Office. Your professionalism and compassion to the citizens of Marshall County and to all that fall under your care will forever be remembered, and we as a fiscal court will forever be grateful for your professionalism and dedication to the families during their most difficult times. And court, if you would join me up here, we'd like to present. Cheney Graham. Thank you. Tim Davis. Kevin Byers. And EM Director Kurt Kirkner.
I'm the guy that flies under the radar, remember?
Yeah, every now and then.
You got spotted. You got spotted.
Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna do a group picture.
Okay, thank you.
One other quick thing, Judge, I will say this about Kenny. I don't know if anybody else from the coroner's office does this or not, but Kenny has been meeting with, let's say, impressionable minds that sometimes come to court and might need to meet with the coroner and learn a lesson about either fast driving or alcohol or drug use. And I think he provides an invaluable service in that regard. So I want to thank him for doing that. And he has a full-time job too. So I don't know how he does it.
I don't know when he sleeps. Anyway, thank you all for all you do, and your professionalism is greatly appreciated. Correspondence, August personnel changes, Mr. Pagel.
Tell you what, it's an honor to be sitting up here next to Detective Lane. And you too, Judge. All right. August personnel changes. Franklin Foster, Deputy Sheriff, effective 8/5/25 at $25.46 an hour. Lofton Riley, Deputy Sheriff, effective 8/5/24 at $27.42 an hour. Andrea Starks, part-time 911 dispatcher, effective 8/1/24 at $18 an hour. Hope Oliver, termed 8/20/24. Matthew Reif, termed 8/5/24. Jeff Peck, termed 8/12/24. Bruce Rucker, SRO, effective 8/12/24 at $27.20 an hour. Lawrence Treaster, Deputy Jailer, effective 8/16/24 at $16 an hour. Daniel Dickerson, part-time Sheriff's Office, effective 8/19/24 at $22 an hour. Mike Muller, Park Ground Supervisor, effective 8/30/24 at $22 an hour, $22. William Watkins, retired 8/31/24. Congratulations, Shane. Casey Counts, pay increase from $27.77 to $32.10, effective 8/16/24. That's it, sir.
Okay. Under old business, need a motion to approve the August 20th minutes.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2014-01, Kentucky Building Code Amendment, second reading.
Go for it.
Okay.
You can just read the underlined portions if you want to. We read the whole thing last time.
The underlined portions, this copy does not have underlined portions. You want to glance at it?
I sent
That was what I
that.
was supposed to do.
What's that?
Huh? That was what?
I sent that to you all that day. Did you not get it?
I believe you did.
Well, I'll look. I might have it here.
Corey to the rescue.
Aha.
Okay. So what is changing are that the Kentucky Building Code will be enforced by Marshall County, Kentucky. Also, the Marshall County Building and Electrical Office will be the designated enforcement officer, and all codes inspections shall be performed by persons certified by Kentucky Department of Housing, Buildings, and Construction and approved by this jurisdiction. All electrical inspections shall be performed by persons certified by the Kentucky Department of Housing, Buildings, and Construction as an electrical inspector and approved by this jurisdiction. Section 3, they added a building inspection program that pursuant to KRS 198B 0608, a building inspection program is hereby established in Marshall County for application to all buildings subject to 815 KAR 7120 Kentucky Building Code, single-family dwellings. The building inspection program in Marshall County shall include plan review, inspections of structures subject to 815 KAR 7125 Kentucky Residential Code. Those are the changes to the old original ordinance.
Need a motion to approve and adopt ordinance 2014-01 Kentucky Building Code Amendment.
Move we approve and adopt the new ordinance.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Elevator modernization. Mr. Pagel's put a lot of hours into this project.
Elevator modernization is an exciting topic.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that needs to be done every 20 to 25 years. Started getting notifications well before I was here, about 5 years ago, that the brains and guts of the elevator are obsolete and parts are running out fast, and if we were to have a problem, it would take a long time to get those parts. Of course, to change those out, to swap those out, you have to bring everything up to code. So what we did was decided to put the bid out for a tire lock and key upgrade and code, and make them responsible for applying, getting everything approved by the state, taking care of business, and upgrading, modernizing 2 elevators in the judicial building. And we got the grant, we got the bids that you saw in the packet, so. You have any questions or anything?
I don't have my computer with me. I totally forgot, but, so I feel lost. But did we not last time approve those subject to approval from AOC? Or what did we do?
Yeah.
But that has been secured.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
And so we looked at this, and we, of course, asked them to bid out separate and then combined. There's a company, Elevator Solutions, out of Owensboro and Louisville. They had their bid was $200,000, $200,000 and $500, excuse me, $200,500. Okay? DC Elevator, out of Louisville and Lexington, their combined was $198,000 even. TKE, who happens to currently have our preventive maintenance plan, their bid was for $178,203.61. So they beat the next highest bid by $20,000. Of course, 92% to be reimbursed later by AOC.
And that's all just for the judicial,
Just the judicial building.
right?
Yeah.
So it's 80, so it's 20%, or
They'll reimburse 92%.
92%. So 8% of that is our,
We
Wait,
have to front it.
go ahead.
We have to front it.
We have to front the entire, yeah, and then be reimbursed.
Yes. I mean, it's,
I don't remember what I can't remember, did we budget towards that, or did we?
The total bid amount, can you tell me that one more time?
$178,203.61 is the lowest bid.
That's the TKE?
ThyssenKrupp.
That's the current,
Yes, sir.
same, right?
After that, it's DC Elevator with
Swear, I thought you
198.
said 498.
Sorry about that.
You're looking at 8.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then Elevator Solutions was a little over $200,000.
yeah. We should only be out about 14,000 on that.
Okay.
I mean, that's a lot, but beats 200.
Did we budget for it? I don't remember.
In the buildings and maintenance line for the judicial center, last fiscal year, we had 85,000. This fiscal year, we did 120,000 in anticipation of working on elevators.
Something like that, yeah.
So as far as the 14,000 that we have to cover, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure we can upfront. That building always has a lot of maintenance, and so that line gets used up every year. So we'll just want to make sure we can upfront it, but once we get the money back, we'll be fine with the 14.
Do we need to say within the motion where the money comes from? Or is it just going to come out of our investment?
We got a line there for the judicial building maintenance.
Yeah,
Well,
let
but
me
is
let me
it-
see what the balance of it is right now. Hold on one second.
Well, I'm saying the total though.
The upfront.
Do we have that much up front? No.
That's what I'm looking for, to see what's left in the line. There's only $80,000 left in the line, so we will have to use something. It can be investment dollars if that's what you all want to do, to upfront the cost, and then once we are reimbursed, we can amend back into whatever line we
Use
use that money from.
we're not going to do it today, right? We're not going to front the money today, so it's not like we need to make the,
You don't have to make the decision today. No, we can talk
I
about
see.
it at the next meeting if you want to discuss your options of where to get the remainder.
did they give us a time frame?
Yes, they did.
I'm thinking you told me they're going to do it like in stages or something like that.
There
so
are
that
some stages
you don't have
to have that.
complete interruption or whatever? Or is there only
We can
one?
do one at a time, I guess.
Just don't want to, you want to make sure that you're.
The contract
Higher.
execution can vary, just time lags, you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Survey and order material, they say 4 to 6 weeks, fabrication time 5 weeks, and modernization 4 to 6 weeks. So we're
3 months.
kicking it out a while, 3 to 4 months.
But you want to make sure that your bid doesn't expire.
Right, well, we have to get started with the contract with them pretty quickly,
Well, we can do that.
and an initial payment.
What are they requiring?
Upfront 50% within the first 30 days.
Well, I guess we do need
I think the
that.
investment line would be fine. It's
Okay.
a good place to pull from if the court is
And it-
comfortable for that, and that line can handle that, and we can
All right.
return it when we're reimbursed.
Well, then I will move that we approve the bid for Thiessen, is that
TKE.
TKE?
Second.
And take the money out of the investment.
Okay, I'll add it to the appropriation transfer we're going to read off.
Okay.
Anything over $100,000 with anything over involving AOC requires a memo of understanding as well. So that's something we have done before with the
We
roof.
need to do that
so.
separately to approve the judge signing a MOU or?
They usually send it to
Oh.
us, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we'll do it once they send it.
Can we add to that motion subject to AOC approving? I know we had something prior to, but that's a lot of money. I'd like something
Yeah.
current when we get ready to sign that.
Subject to current AOC approval.
Okay.
Second again.
Motion to second. One thing I'd like to discuss, they're asking for 50% upfront. Have you seen that before with anything? I'm not real comfortable with that. Nothing against the company. It's just like,
Have I seen anything exactly like that? No, but
Are all three of them asking for the same money up front? The other two?
Well, I mean, they are 30, the next one's $20,000 higher. One of them, well, I'm not getting, okay, Elevator Solutions, the $200,000 one wants 30% upon receipt of order. And then theirs is broken down. This one, TK is 50, 25, and 25, different stages. This next one, Elevator Solutions, is 30, 30, 10 at different stages.
have all three of those, have you checked into some of the projects they've done before or gotten references or anything like that?
Well, I know a lot less about Elevator Solutions, but a little more about, what was the second one? DC has CFSD at Murray State, the high school. So and there's been a general consensus that things are good with them. They just, this is their bid. It doesn't provide.
That's the highest one.
It's the second highest one. It's the one that's 198,000 versus 178 versus 200.
Did you have anything on the TKE? Have you heard it? Do they do
Well, they
anything?
do ours right now, and they're global, they're huge, they're big, they're dependable. And all three companies were great to work with, and all three taught me something. And so they were all great to work with, and I met their people, and Matt Thompson went with me a few times, our maintenance guy, one of them. So all three companies were wonderful in their cooperation and their execution.
okay.
I mean, I would assume it's basically because you're paying for the material up front and they're delivering it, and then the majority of the rest of it is labor and more labor intensive, don't you?
I mean,
Say
It'd be my, also, I have a feeling it's probably because of the uniqueness of the material. Not all elevators are the same, obviously. So.
yeah.
we got a motion and second. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, Mr. Pagel?
Let me catch my breath here. Okay, what is it? Oh, 911 personnel. Okay, so when dispatchers got pay increases, we had an individual who was overlooked, and that was brought to our attention. So we decided to increase her pay to $20.68 an hour, up $1, and do it retroactive to the fiscal year. It's Rachel Opiola, our most experienced dispatcher over there.
Need a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, she's got years' experience well beyond any other ones that we have right now, so she's pretty invaluable. And the way they did the pay increases, she already made some, and then all she got was a COLA, and then everyone else got a significantly more of a pay increase. So she kind of fell through the cracks, so.
That's right.
You have a first and a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Surplus, Mr. Watkins.
The road department would like to surplus a few things. We'd like to, for sealed bids, 6 foot by 31 foot tank car, and then also a 2014 John Deere tractor.
Is that the one y'all been using for parts tractor?
Yeah, that tractor's we've been using, robbing parts off of it for the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, that's a way to sell it. For the sealed
Just
bids.
parts.
But it runs and
It's a
drives.
tractor, it doesn't have any parts on it, but
Put some fuel in
It's
it
still
and
got
take it
some
home.
parts.
It's only got 10 hours on it,
kind of
doesn't it?
salesman.
Okay.
I move we surplus equipment for the road department,
Tractor and tank cars. Is there a second?
tractor and
Second.
tank car and whatever.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. One thing real quick, Roy and the crew is out working, or going to be, at Mike Miller Park. We have a lot of things in behind the Veterans Plaza that's visible down there. We're in the process of making a pad behind the tree line to move all that to, and it's going to beautify that area and add parking for the soccer field. So we're excited about that. And anyway,
How close are we to being caught up on mowing now? Not to put you on the spot in front of,
We're actually doing pretty good.
okay.
We're doing good.
All right.
Very few complaints.
Especially from the first district.
Yeah.
Where are they?
our next item, Sheriff Hilbrecht had sent me this. And on August 23rd, September 24, the Marsh County Special Response Team was called to Murray, Kentucky to assist with a subject who was threatening suicide and had pointed a rifle at Murray City police officers. A warrant was obtained. The Special Response Team attempted to serve the warrant by deploying gas in an effort to get the suspect to exit the residence peacefully. The subject, however, opened fire on 4 members of our team. Deputy Jacob Ham was struck by rounds multiple times in his left arm. Fortunately for the other members of the team, they were shielded from multiple rounds fired by the suspect by a ballistic shield. This shield stopped multiple rounds and undoubtedly saved the lives of the deputies that night. Once a shield has sustained rounds, it's no longer considered safe to use. Not only the unsafe continued use, but the shield and the multi-port gas launcher were seized by KSP as part of the investigation. Items seized are typically held until all criminal proceedings are concluded and all appeal processes are exhausted by the defendant. The process typically takes several years. So in effect, our sheriff's office will be without shield and gas launcher for several years. During the incident, we learned how crucial a second shield could have been when trying to evacuate our wounded deputy. The sheriff's office is requesting the purchase of 2 new ballistic shields and multi-port gas launcher. These were unanticipated expenses which were not budgeted for in the sheriff's current budget cycle. I would like to make the motion that the fiscal court purchases these for the sheriff's office special response team, 2 shields and the gas launcher. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So will this give us 3 total now, or just these 2? So we're without one right now.
Right. The one we have had for years was.
That's the only one.
Well, this one we just got 2 months ago.
Okay, yeah.
The other one that we had, turns out it did not stop AR rounds.
Oh, so it was
inoperable.
essentially.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
they had the new one
You
because
don't
the
know
old
that
one.
until.
Yeah, it's 100%. Had we not had this new one 2 years or 2 months ago, we would have at least 1 fatality. So,
And it's below the bid amount, just for the record.
we need 2 because we needed another one to go and try to locate. We didn't know they had drug them out the back. We were in the front and trying to get to them on the side. And this gentleman took the old shield at his own peril, and we tried to locate. So it was, you saw a lot of heroics that night. Our agency is
Special. Is that?
The shields
per
are
65
65,
per
50 each,
each.
and the launcher is 43, 45. And I think this court has made a commitment to give our law enforcement the tools they need to do their job and do it safely.
I move we purchase them.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
You gonna take, no, we didn't say where to take that.
Since you all voted that you want to do it, I have it prepared in my budget amendment, to
Oh, it
read,
is?
so I'll read it as it is. If you had voted it down, I would have amended my budget amendment really quick.
You made an assumption.
I'm prepared.
Next item, RDAP resolution for Southwest One. Need a motion to approve and sign the resolution agreement designating MC IDA as a SPGE to receive RDAP funds for Southwest One funds.
Debt service.
Debt
Right,
service. Yeah,
yeah.
all that goes for, there's a little bit left, but all of that goes for their debt service.
Yeah. So move.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, board appointments. Nuisance Board will be Larry Ball to fill the expired term of Derek Dowdy, term to expire 4/30/27. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. The next one is Cody Collins to the Fair Dealing Olive Fire Board to fill the vacated term of Jeff DeSanti, term to expire 6/30/27.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2024-08, speed limit Echo Lane, first reading.
I better not read it too fast. Sorry.
Comedian.
That was pretty good.
Speed limit ordinance, Commonwealth, Kentucky, County of Marshall, speed limit, ordinance number 2024-08. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, in accordance with the provisions set forth in KRS 189-395A and based upon the request of affected citizens and after review by the Marshall County Road Superintendent and the Marshall County Sheriff, the Marshall County Fiscal Court does hereby set the speed limit at 25 miles per hour for the following road located in Marshall County, Kentucky. Echo Lane. The foregoing ordinance shall be published in the Tribune Courier on the next date possible. After the second reading. The first reading is on September 10th today, 2024.
Thank you. Okay, the next item, we have the Employee Assistance Program. We sat down and went over our insurance review for the year. This is something that had been in place a few years ago and was taken out. And after hearing everything that was involved with it, I see the value in having this. It's a program for our employees that's confidential. They can reach out to them for any issue such as just stress, needing assistance with something, alcohol, drug assistance, anything like that. It's confidential, and all the department heads will have something posted where an employee can get the contact information and reach out to them. And she's going to share this. The lady from Peel and Holland's going to come to a presentation to the department heads and elected officials, and she's going to share this story, so I'm not saying anything I shouldn't, but she said when she first moved here and started to work, her daycare shut down, and she said, I was in a total panic and wasn't sure what I was going to do and new to the area, and I just happened to think about this, and I reached out to them, and she said within 12 hours they had reached out to all the daycares in the area. They had phone numbers if they were accepting new clients and all of that. So there's many uses for this, and I think it will be a great thing for our employees to have if they ever need it. So I just need a motion to sign the agreement for the EAP with Pill and Holland.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance 2024-09, Admin Code Amendment, first reading. Mr. Pagel?
First reading here. Ordinance number 2024-09, it's an amendment to ordinance number 2023-15. It's an ordinance related to the administrative code and amendment thereof, whereas the County of Marshall adopted an administrative code by Marshall County on June 21st, 2016, whereas it was determined that certain provisions should be amended and/or deleted to the code. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County that the following amendments are made to the administrative code of Marshall County. The amendment to section 5.1 definitions to remove from the definition of exempt employee park grounds supervisor. Moving on to amended section 5.3D to change the pay grid from senior department head, the minimum, it will reflect the 3.4% cost of living. The minimum will go from 2623 to 2712, the midpoint from 3361 to 3475, and the maximum from 41 to 4239. Department head 3, minimum 2280 to 2358, midpoint 2922 to 3021, and maximum 3565 to 3686. Department head 2, minimum 2078 to 2149, midpoint 2598 to 2686, maximum 3119 to 3225. Department head 1, minimum 1963, going to 2030, excuse me. 20, midpoint 2454 to 2537, maximum 2944 to 3044. Hope I don't skip a line here, it's a lot. Supervisor 2, 1846 to 1909, 2454 to 2537, and maximum 2944 to 3044. Supervisor 2, 1846 to 1909, for the minimum, the midpoint 2310 to 2389, and the maximum from 2770 to 2864. Supervisor 1, 1721 to 1619 for the minimum, the midpoint 21 to 2171, and the maximum 2477 to 2561. Professional staff, the minimum 1566 to 1619, the midpoint 1910 to 1975, the maximum 2253 to 2329. Staff 4, the minimum 1492 moving to 1543, the midpoint 1775 to 1835, the maximum 2059 to 2129. Staff, did I just read off staff 3? Because I should have read off, that was staff 4. Staff 3 is 1387 to 1434 for the minimum, the midpoint 1650 to 1706, the maximum 1915 to 1918. Staff 2, the minimum 1355 to 1401, the midpoint 1573 to 1626, the maximum 1792 to 1853. Staff 1, the minimum 1288 to 1332, the midpoint 1497 to 1548, and the maximum from 1708 to 1766. Amending section 512D to add under safety, any employee injured while on duty will be covered under workers' comp in accordance with state and local laws. Any employee who is able to work as a result of a covered compensable injury may elect to use available vacation and/or sick leave time to ensure that their regular take-home pay rate is maintained. However, this is the addition. However, employees on workers' comp do not accrue vacation, and/or sick time and do not receive holiday pay. Amending Section 522C to add under holidays, 522C, we're adding employees may not use sick, vacation, or compensatory time on a paid holiday. Amending Section 5, drug and alcohol testing, 5C, and Section 6 to Section 5, drug and alcohol testing. And this is going to reflect the addition back to the Employee Assistance Program. Such agreement shall stipulate that the employee at the county's request may be required at any time to submit an interview and/or evaluation by the professional staff at an appropriate chemical dependency treatment facility approved by the county's Employee Assistance Program. The return to work agreement will also stipulate that the employee will be required to submit to unannounced controlled substance and/or alcohol testing for up to 12 months after resuming duties. Follow-up testing in Section 6. Any employee returning to work from successful completion of an employee assistance program for alcohol-related problems, or an alcohol rehab program shall be required to undergo 1 year of a quarterly drug and alcohol testing. The frequency of the follow-up testing shall consider recommendations of any involved substance abuse professional that shall be not less than 1 per quarter for at least 1 year. All follow-up testing may be requested at any time and shall be unannounced. Amending Section 12, off-duty alcohol, drug use, and/or volatile substance intentional misuse and callback. Section A to Section 12, in no way is it the county's intent to interfere in the private lives of its employees. However, all employees should be aware that an employee's off-duty use of alcohol, illegal use of controlled substances, intentional misuse of prescription drugs, or intentional misuse of volatile substances as described in this policy, which result in excessive absenteeism, tardiness, or work performance, shall be subject to discipline, which may include termination of employment. In the case of alcohol abuse, such employees may be subject to counseling or treatment through the county's Employee Assistance Program.
Can I stop you here
Absolutely.
and ask?
Thank you.
Have you all been given any guidance on, obviously, January 1, with medical marijuana going into place? Have we received any guidance on, I believe there may be a CAECO, did I see maybe something's coming up soon or something? I would say we need to, or maybe that's something that'll be at the conference and they'll mention that, but I know it's outside of the commissioner's purview on this, but I think we need to be cognizant of that change between now and January.
I think it'll be like some other things, if it shows up and they have a script, but then you get into the question of the level, in the system. So there's a lot of questions there that they haven't answered.
Yeah.
And this particular is not addressing that.
Right. It's a conundrum.
Thank you for the break. Amending Section 13, substance abuse treatment, A1 and 2, to now say Employee Assistance Program instead of substance abuse treatment. Alcoholism and controlled substance addiction are recognized as diseases responsive to proper treatment. Employees are encouraged to voluntarily seek treatment if substance abuse or abuse is an issue, adding that the county provides a level of care through its Employee Assistance Program. All employees shall be given information about the Employee Assistance Program, including phone numbers at the time of her orientation. Adding back, because again, this was removed just last year, and we're just turning around and adding it back. We removed this last year and putting it back this year. All employees of the county are strongly encouraged to voluntarily contact the Employee Assistance Program if they believe they might have a problem with drug or alcohol abuse. We dropped last year, but we're adding back this next part. other resources for information, and it gives phone numbers for Al-Anon, the American Council on Alcoholism, the Center for Substance Abuse Treatment. First reading held on September 10th, 2024.
Judge, before we get started on the next one, I know this is riveting stuff, but if some of these fine folks need to go and do something, y'all feel free to leave. Y'all don't have to do all this riveting stuff.
They said,
We got another one of them to go next, so.
You could have waited until we lowered their tax rate first.
Marius
that
got
part.
20 votes there, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Uno probably needs a fire plug right now.
I'd move for a quick recess.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. And next item, ordinance 2024-10, budget amendment, first reading.
That's me this time. An ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the County of Marshall has received additional funds. Now be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County that Section 1, the annual budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 is amended to A, increase the following revenue accounts. Federal grant, $78,284. Miscellaneous general fund, $2,400. Cash balance July 1 general fund, $17,500. Cash balance July 1 OTA, $320,000. State-funded paving projects, $233,000. Cash balance July 1 ABC, $2,000, for a total increase of revenue accounts of $653,184. B, increase the following expenditure accounts. General fund reserve, $65,389. OEM safety supplies and training, $2,295. General fund investments, $13,000. General fund reserve for transfer, $17,500. OTA reserve for transfer, $320,000. Road fund equipment, $168,000. Paving, $65,000. DARE supplies, $2,000, for a total increase expenditure accounts of $653,184. The amounts added to the revenue and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes, approved by the Marshall County Fiscal Court the 10th day of September 2024.
Okay, Marshall County Board of Health revised tax rate. I am on that board as well, and I'm very happy to say, I think I've got this right, but I think this rate is the lowest it's been in, I think it's 24 years. So very excited about that, on what the Board of Health has done to reduce taxes. The revised rate is 6.1. Need a motion to approve that.
And that was from 6.3, I think, is what they brought us. I think that's right, isn't it?
Get out one of my trusty folders here. I'm not really sure.
I move we approve the 6.1 tax rate for the Marshall County Board of Health.
Second.
Motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, this next one is the counties. Very proud to be reducing this, if this passes, of course, for the fourth year in a row. This will be a reduction of 6% from the current rate of 8.3 to 7.8. So very happy to do everything we're doing, and from buying equipment, paying off things, roofs. I mean, we're getting a lot done, all while cutting taxes, and I'm very proud of that. So need a motion to set the tax rate at the compensating rate of 7.8%.
So moved.
Second? Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I also need you guys to set the personal property rate, which is generally the same rate for us. So if that
Move
can
we
be a
approve.
special or separate.
7.8 for the personal property compensating.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This next one, the court is acknowledging they have received the audit year ending June 30th, 2023. Treasurer's report. Erica?
There are actually 2 monthly treasurer's reports on your drive, July and August, and those are just for you all. They don't go to the state. There's about 6 PDFs for each month, and just review those. If you have any questions, come by or email me, and we can talk about anything you want to.
Need a motion to accept treasurer's report. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Transfers?
Okay, I'll start with the appropriation transfers. Those are on your drive. So there's one for pest control services at the Judicial Center. The next big section, they all have to do with our health, our health premiums. The employer portion in January is not going to change. And since we did budget to cover if there was a slight increase, we're moving that money. For one thing, it's allowing us to pay for the employee assistance program. So at the bottom, I'm going to add the additional lines of what we talked about earlier in the court meeting to move from the investment expenditure line to the judicial building maintenance line. The $140,000 is what I am suggesting we move. That way we will leave a little bit in that line even after we pay for the elevator, for the other issues that come up there.
Move we approve the appropriation transfers.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, on my bank transfers, I have 3 transfers that are budgeted subsidies. 2 are from occupational tax to the general fund for the general fund items and for the sheriff's department. The 3rd is from the alcohol beverage fund to the general fund for the sheriff's department. And then the 4th is moving from the ARPA account to the federal asset forfeiture account, a deposit that was made into the ARPA account for federal asset forfeitures.
Move we approve the bank transfers.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to pay the bills?
Motion. Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Mike Miller Park policies.
So myself and Brittany and I believe the gentleman's name was Brad Hall, I think it was, met last week or the week before. Basically what we come up with was instead of changing policies, we made the concession to allow the pitching machine to be used by coaches that were in the spring league. Brittany may be able to clarify that a little bit.
They were in spring league and they are playing fall rec ball.
Fall rec ball somewhere else.
The pitching machines free of charge without a reservation.
Yeah. And then secondly, to really try to put a focus back on letting the WKBSA or WKBSA board actually kind of have more control over the league. That way, if we can get some more involvement there, you can have fall ball and spring ball, and then all the others a moot point. That way, if you're playing fall ball, you can rent it anytime. If you can play spring ball, you can rent it anytime. So I think we're probably going to work through maybe getting a little bit more active board. I think they used to be pretty active, and then for whatever reason, I think most of the responsibilities fall on Brittany and Robin at Mike Miller, and it's just my opinion. I don't think on a county government level we need to be running rec leagues at least fully. You know, we don't do football, basketball, soccer, any of those things. So as much of that responsibility as we can give them control of, that way they can kind of do it however they see fit, and then if we need to run umpire payroll or whatever, we can do that during business hours. But as far as after hours, we look for 5 to 7 folks that would really step up and help to run that league moving forward. Because that's kind of where we were at after that meeting. So.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept that agreement?
I'd make a motion, yeah.
Second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
So will we continue and allow this 3-person committee to
Yeah, I don't know.
reach out to the WK?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
we can continue to meet if we need to. I think fall ball's getting most of this issue is kind of almost over with, I think, especially with the pitching machine issue. If it's taken care of now, then that gets them
Now,
through
we've
fall
got
ball.
time between now and spring, I
Yeah.
guess, to.
And then maybe we can get whoever wants to be on the board, or maybe who's on the board that's not really participating, to get kind of some of those changes made before they can get full gear in spring ball.
Is that a board we appoint?
Actually, I think
It's
Brittany,
just- It is under the nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not a public board, it's just under the nonprofit, the foundation side. So the way that works is the park director, the way the bylaws were written, the park director would make the suggestions of the board members and they would be approved by the foundation. So that's how those would be set, and I believe September 30th is when those people would step up based on the way the bylaws are written. So I'm in the process of reviewing those bylaws now, and hopefully we'll have tons of people that want to step up and get involved, and we're excited to let them take that and run with that.
yeah, that's what we really need. We need that participation from, obviously we had a lot of investment in this issue, so let's kind of use that motivation and kind of, we can kind of give them as much control as we possibly can, in my opinion. And then moving forward and maybe hit the ground running in spring ball.
And I would suggest too, maybe is maybe putting somebody that's not necessarily on the WKVSA as well, you got.
Like a
some-
neutral.
Well, or you've got some that are travel teams or whatever, so that would give you another, avenue of, hey, we've seen this in Missouri at a park or something like that. Could we, maybe implement that here too? So, I would say it would not be just rec league, avenue, maybe
Yeah.
have somebody in the.
So this, just to clarify, this that we're talking about would just be to be over the rec league. So it would not be anything to do with the park.
It would be just with the park.
No,
or
it would have
baseball, softball.
nothing to do with the park whatsoever. It would just be over the rec league itself.
I was just thinking of other ideas.
Park's always been all around.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Sure.
baseball and softball outside of the rec side.
Could I ask you, is this for, it's my understanding that 7, 8-year-olds are gonna be able to use, the ones that need the pitching machine will be able to use it.
Right.
But this is gonna become now a policy, you guys are gonna vote on this, and this is gonna continue on that.
Well, it was
there
already-
is a- Well,
The policy was already, and then we just made that
like,
consideration.
my understanding, there wasn't, I asked for the policy originally, not to stir trouble, but I asked
Right.
when there wasn't one, then all of a sudden there was an email. So I'm just asking, is you gonna continue to charge, not you obviously, but the coroner, whoever.
That will stay the same throughout.
Is gonna continue to charge the rental reservation fees.
The concession also was if we can get more involvement with WKS, whatever it is, once you have spring and fall ball, then that's a moot point. So if you're playing spring and fall ball at Mike Miller Park, you don't have to reserve it, so. That's the solution would be if we have fall ball. And then obviously it's still free anytime you need to use it.
Could I ask one more question just for my own ignorance? I don't know the answer, Kevin, you may tell me. What happened to the park board? How come we don't have that in place anymore? I know, and forgive me, I don't know about you guys, but I know, like, I think earlier Monty may have said something about a fire department board, and I know
Yeah.
last time you spoke, you said that there was, basically the people on the park board didn't have skin in the game or whatever. So I don't understand, like, the water boards and all the boards, I don't understand that by any means, and I'm not gonna claim to, but I'm just wondering what happened to the park board, and is this how the state does it? Does it set that it's, the judge, deputy judge, and the park director? Or,
I don't know what happened to the actual Mike Miller Park, or if there ever was a Mike Miller Park board.
There was originally a board since its inception until about, I don't know, probably around 2017, 2018. It was dissolved. That was a creation of the county. There's nothing in statute about a county park board. Yeah, most of the boards that when we're talking about board appointments, most of those boards are statutory, like the water department boards, the fire district boards. You can trace that back to statute that calls for those boards, who serves on it, who fills vacancies, the makeup of those boards. As far as county-made boards, the park board was one that the county established. We have the building inspection board, the nuisance board, I guess Southwest one
IDA
board,
maybe, yeah.
IDA. So we have about 3 or 4 county boards. The rest of the boards that you hear us talk about are all set by statute.
Well, that was my question, is one thing I've learned in this from my Facebook post and all the attention it got was people were like, well, what's the park board say? Because everybody assumes there's a park board. I really think there's a need for a park board. I just can't find it in myself to understand that we have a county paid employee as a member of the decision-making part of that, you know, with the judge, obviously, I guess they're all paid.
Well, and I'd asked the judge about it, and you said actually the fiscal court is
Basically,
is the
fiscal
park board,
is.
you know, because it's a county owned. Is that right?
I don't know about that. It's been disbanded, so once it was disbanded, I don't know.
And we just, I guess de facto, make the decision.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, you know, if you don't have a board,
Oh, yeah.
ultimately, the buck does stop here, so.
Yeah. And I mean, the budget obviously comes through.
Yeah, so the fiscal court is the ultimate policymaker for the park, yeah, without question.
Anybody else? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.